performance cars are engineering marvels, but they are heavy. They rely on dense battery packs, complex turbochargers, and layers of algorithmic driving assists to keep you on the road. But at the turn of the millennium, Honda took a different approach. To celebrate their 50th anniversary and decades of championship motorcycle racing, they built the S2000, an uncompromising, pure analog sports car. In car culture, this vehicle carries a notorious reputation. But if you ask two different enthusiasts why it's famous, you'll get two completely contradictory answers. One driver will tell you it houses one of the greatest naturally aspirated engines ever designed. The other will tell you about its chassis and how violently it can bite back if you push it too far. To understand how a single car earned this dual-natured legacy, we need to look under the hood to see the math that broke records and under the chassis to see the physics that broke traction. This is the beating heart of the original AP1 generation, produced from 1999 to 2003, the F20C. It is a 2.0-liter, naturally aspirated four-cylinder engine. It produces 240 horsepower. When you do the math, that is 120 horsepower per liter of displacement without a turbocharger. That specific output set a record for naturally aspirated production cars that stood unbroken for a full decade. It ultimately took a Ferrari, specifically the 458 Italia, to surpass what Honda achieved here. However, building an engine to make that much power from such a small displacement requires a major compromise. The F20C produces virtually no low-end torque. At normal city speeds, it can actually feel sluggish. This graph shows the power delivery curve. To go fast, you have to push the tachometer past 6,000 RPM. That triggers Honda's aggressive VTEC cam profile, allowing the engine to scream to a 9,000 RPM redline. By requiring the driver to keep the engine spinning at such extreme speeds to find the true power, the S2000 behaves less like a passenger car and entirely like a high-performance sport bike. The chassis is extreme. Pushing the engine behind the front axle creates a perfect 50-50 weight distribution, but early AP1 models suffered snap oversteer. Lifting the throttle or braking mid-corner shifts weight forward, rapidly altering rear suspension geometry and instantly breaking rear tire grip. And because early S2000s shipped without electronic stability control, a driver who made this mistake mid-corner had no computer to save them from a spin. The AP1 was a razor-sharp tool with no hilt. It demanded elite car control and punished anyone who approached its limits with absolute respect. To make the car a viable daily driver and smooth out that unforgiving edge, Honda introduced the AP2 generation in 2004. Engineers softened the rear anti-roll bars and altered the rear suspension geometry to keep the tires planted over bumps. In later years, they finally added traction control. This table compares the original AP1 engine to the updated AP2 powertrain. In North America, Honda swapped in the 2.2-liter F22 C1. The red line dropped to 8,000 RPM, but the trade-off was more pulling power at lower speeds. While purists missed the mechanical scream of the original engine, the AP2 suspension tweaks made it far more predictable on twisting roads and objectively faster around most racetracks. Today, clean, unmodified examples of the S2000 are highly coveted, appreciating assets in the collector market. They offer a driving experience from before the era of heavy hybrid systems and digitized steering, the absolute zenith of analog automotive engineering. The S2000 remains a perfectly preserved time capsule. It is the result of a laser-focused, unadulterated engineering philosophy from a mainstream manufacturer that the world is unlikely to see again.